Good afternoon, everybody. Today we talk about how we build innovation ecosystems. Actually, I represent the Skolkovo Foundation, which is the state-owned non-for-profit organization. And of course, we always have to answer the question, why we're doing something and how our efforts, how they affect the economy of the countries, because we spend the budget money. And to address that, we need always to stay focused and identify the measures which really help the innovations and really help to create new businesses. I think the topic, why innovation matters, is self-evident in this particular audience. There are some facts that we see in the basic materials industries, in the commodities, that create some instability today that we face. One example of those, and I'm from Russia, is that throughout the last year, the currency exchange rate varied about 60%. Of course, it's not very good for the traditional businesses, because the large corporations, they experienced higher pressure from the foreign debt, which has been nominated in the foreign currency, the exchange market experiencing volatility, the stock market is not feeling really well. But at the same time, for the innovation economy, it creates tremendous opportunities. For example, today we have a very strong call for the joint projects from Japan for the clinical research trials. Because the costs for the clinical research trials are primarily the salaries of the high professionals. And in Russia, it became much cheaper compared to the year and a half ago. Similarly, most of you, I think, are doing startups and projects in ICT. In ICT, Russia became much more competitive in terms of the labor costs and the productivity because of these exchanges. So when the crisis creates the threats for the traditional businesses, they create the opportunities for the startups and for innovation ecosystems. And there are some obvious areas which you are aware of in which these innovations happen that will change our life in the next future. So coming back to the question, what particularly we do and how we identify the measures that every innovative ecosystem should implement to support innovations, we've done certain analysis. And we try to put on this chart and analyze the country's capabilities compared on the average labor costs, which is the horizontal axis. And they are, as we call, intellectual or innovative potential. One of the metrics that we believe to be applicable is the average number of patents filed per 1 million of population. And here you see very interesting and expected result. And dear our Finnish friends, we congratulate you to be on the top right corner among the leaders in terms of the potential for creating new ideas and patenting new ideas globally. Interestingly, in absolute terms, Russia is number 6 globally in terms of the domestic patents filed every year, but we are only number 22 in terms of the international patents that we file. And this gives us a sign that we have a strong potential that we need to develop. And that was one of the fundamentals behind the concept of our innovative ecosystem, which we build in Skolkovo. So on previous slide, we identified there are different countries with different potential. And clearly, those who are developing, which have low wages and which have competitive advantage in the effective labor force. Of course, when you want to stimulate high GDP growth rates and you want to have immediate effect on your economy, then you invest in the technoparks. You invest in the industrial technoparks like China is doing massively and have been doing effectively in the last 15 years. You invest in the infrastructure, you create new workforces, you stimulate domestic production and import substitution. For the countries which have strong potential for inventing new ideas and creating new businesses and creating new scientific discoveries, for those, of course, you focus on the different types of measures, and the ecosystems should be created differently. The ecosystems should be created around the universities, around the science communities. And here it was a very interesting question for Russia, because on one side, based on the economic figures, we still should focus on the industrial measures to stimulate the growth, to help our companies grow faster. At the same time, we see that we have a potential for creating new ideas, and we really believe that in certain areas, Russian science can still be one of the top leading research places for research globally. So, analyzing all these aspects, we came to the conclusion that, and that's how we structured our Skolkovo innovative ecosystem. First of all, we identified 5 industrial areas on the left side of the slide in which we operated, which goes across all the elements of Skolkovo project. Naturally, they are biomedicine, and we believe that this is the industry in which will be game changers in the next 20 years that will affect our lifestyle the most. Second, and I think it's what's happening today everywhere, is ICT. Third is energy. Russia is one of the largest energy producing markets in the world, and we cannot discard that. Then the nuclear, but more not nuclear power generation, but radiation technologies, modified materials, new engineering technologies, and of course space. These are the areas where Russia have been historically strong. And in these 5 areas, we decided that we build an ecosystem which consists of these 4 major elements. First one is the startups community. Today we have about 1,200 startups which are members of the Skolkovo community. We help them with the tax exemptions, with grant funding, but what is more important is with international acceleration program and commercialization help. Today here we have 45 companies coming from Russia. 29 are presented on our booth. Please visit that. We would be happy to hear your feedback. The second important element is the university. We are building the new type of the university. We have a strategic alliance with MIT, which helps us to set up that. They help us to recruit professors and researchers globally. The idea is that it's a new university which starts from master's degree, and it's very much industry-oriented. So all the research is done in applied areas in collaboration with industrial partners. And here we come to another critical element of our ecosystem, our industrial partners. Today we have about 60 companies, including such as Microsoft, Siemens, Cisco, IBM, Boeing, SAP, Fortum from Finland, who committed to be part of this ecosystem and first of all bring in their R&D centers to Skolkovo. And next year we'll be commissioning about 400,000 square meters of office space for startups and for the labs of the R&D partners. And in next 2 years, we believe about 5,000 R&D personnel of the international companies will move to Skolkovo based on the agreements signed so far. And of course, the fourth critical element, which makes everything work together, is the VC capital. We work on different stages, including the VC funds with which we collaborate. We created the business angels community of roughly 200 wealthy Russian individuals that invest every second week in one of our startups. And of course, we launched the mentorship program, which is very important, how you contribute your knowledge and your wisdom to the new entrepreneurs and new startups. All these elements, they are based, of course, not in the vacuum, but they are based in the infrastructure. Skolkovo is a particular territory near the Moscow, about 400 hectares, where we built the physical infrastructure, the city. I mentioned the R&D offices. We're also building the campus for the university. It's going to be commissioned at end of next year. And we are building the laboratories. We decided not to invest the budget money in that, but we found about 20 private common use centers operators which committed to be our partners, and they are moving their equipment for roughly $50 million next year to the labs of Technopark, which will be available for all startups, including Finnish startups and all foreign startups that want to do collaborative research in Russia. And of course, the very important part of the infrastructure, not only physical but service infrastructure, is the intellectual property. We have created our own subsidiary which focuses primarily on helping our startups to protect their IP internationally. And we are proud to announce that last year this IP Protection Center contributed to more than 6% of all foreign Russian IP patents filed. And this year we'll do roughly 10% of the Russian Federation foreign patents. To conclude my presentation, I would like to invite you all to collaborate with Skolkovo and visit us. Every summer we have similar event like Slush, which is called Startup Village. It happens on the 2nd and 3rd of June. Last year there were about 220 people coming from Finland, about 900 people coming from all over the world to Skolkovo. And we would like to increase this benchmark at least 2 times next year. So everybody is welcome, and thank you, and have a good day.